I'm Shanna Chung. I am a business technology leader for Johnson & Johnson medical device companies. So what does that mean? What is a business technology leader? Really what it means is I partner with the leadership teams and management within the operating companies for which I support. And we really work together to identify what are the key challenges that we have as a business, what are the key opportunities, and how can we leverage technology in order to solve some of those problems or opportunities. And then I really work within the IT organization to then take those and work with the appropriate groups to deliver solutions in those areas. Yeah, so I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I've actually been with Johnson & Johnson for 25 years. I just had my anniversary. But I actually spent 5 of those years within marketing. And that was one of the really great opportunities that I had as part of my career, was to take some time on the other side, right? And work within a business in a digital marketing role. And then when I came back to information technology, was able to really leverage that experience and build on it in order to provide appropriate solutions for different areas of the business. So I was born and raised in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Many people may refer to this as Pennsylvania Dutch country. My father spent his life driving truck, and my mother spent many years in food service. So come from what I would consider to be a low middle class family. But what's really kind of interesting about my background is my father was raised in a very conservative Mennonite community that didn't have electricity, did not have, kind of the standard modern conveniences. And although I had a really large extended family, both on my father's side and on my mother's side, did not have anybody within my family that actually went to college. So I was the first generation, and I always had a passion for education and knew that I wanted to go to college, but really didn't have anybody to speak to about it and really understand, what were all of the things that I needed to be looking for outside of course, guidance counselors, etc. The reality of is that it's, some luck, and it's some, taking chances. I had decided, like I said, I wanted to go to college, didn't really know what career I wanted to go into, but I had taken some classes in computers. I thought that was fun. And so when I went to look at different careers, different universities, there was a relatively new course that was called information systems. And the way it was described to me was that it was the combination of technology with business. And I thought, well, how could I go wrong, right? Computers seem to be up and coming. And, if that doesn't work out, I have a business component. So that was really, kind of the driver behind my decision to go into that particular major. So Drexel is set up with a program that allows for multiple co-ops while you're going to school. So probably similar to a lot of people that will be watching this video. I also had a need to make money. I also had a need to do work while I was in school. So this provided a really great opportunity to not only get some experience in the field, but also to earn money while I was doing it. And it allowed me to really get that firsthand experience of what is it like to work in a big company, in a corporation? Because most of my friends, most of my family did not have that kind of experience. So I didn't really, have a lot of people to talk to. So really getting that co-op experience was super helpful. My last co-op was actually at Johnson & Johnson. So I did have an opportunity to understand what the company was about, understand the values of the company, and also understand if it was, a working environment that I felt comfortable with. Fortunately, I was at a really great time when I graduated from university that Johnson & Johnson was starting their first year of a pilot program, which was called the Information Management Leadership Development Program. And this was really intended to take high potential individuals and give them a lot of education and experience in a really short period of time, with the intent of, being able to get them into management positions within Johnson & Johnson. So that was really how I started my career, because I had the co-op experience, because I had the connections. I did a lot of networking while I was there, and you'll hear a lot about people talk about networking. But it really is an important thing, because what you will find is people will bring things to your attention. They'll bring opportunities. They'll also, potentially connect you with other people that know of something that you might be interested in. And that was really, what happened in this situation, because I had worked at J&J. I had people that could vouch for me. It was a very competitive program to get into. At the time, they were only selecting 12 people for this, kind of premier pilot year. And I think without, utilizing those individuals and those connections that I had built during my co-op, I probably would not have even been considered for that type of a role. Yeah, so definitely IT has changed over the years, right? And of course, technology is now involved in everything that we do, right? The products that we use, there's very few things today that don't have a component of technology. So when you ask about, what is IT? Well, there's many facets to it, right? A lot of people think about careers in IT as being somebody that works on a help desk, right? And of course, there are careers there, right? So, if you're interested in working with people, helping to solve problems, whether it's hardware or software, somebody in, like a help desk type of role would be working to solve problems that somebody's having, directly with their computer or software. The other career that is very common and a lot of people think about are computer programmers, right? These are the people that write the software or, components of hardware, but that really, create the systems that we use on a daily basis. So how do you make a computer do what you need it to do? And that's really where the computer programmers come in. This tends to be, a very technical role, a lot of math-based, right? Logic. So if you're a person that really enjoys, problem solving for how do I make the system do this type of functionality, a computer programmer, may be the role for you. Some of the roles that people don't necessarily immediately think about, but are very, very instrumental in information technology are what we call either a business analyst. You may also see this as like a product owner. But really what this individual does is works with the business, with customers, with patients, right? To understand the problem, understand the processes that people are using, and then really takes that information and says, how do I convert this into a requirement that somebody can then program in order to make a system do what we need it to do? So it's really that intermediary that understands your business, understands your processes, but then can also communicate effectively to a development team to say, here's what needs to be done and here's what the software needs to do. Similar to that, you have individuals which may be project managers, scrum masters, or program managers that are really focused on how do I bring all of the people and the resources together in order to deliver this software or technical solution, right? It's somebody that's really thinking about schedule. They're thinking about, what needs to get done in order for this next piece of the project to be able to be completed. So it's kind of the glue that keeps these teams together. And that's a really, really important role, which has many, many different levels, right? Then you have specialists, right? And a lot of times, a lot of things that are very popular today, you have people that are focused on data, and you'll hear the term big data. Well, what is that about? It's really about all these computer systems are generating all of this data today. How do you make sense of it? How do you turn those raw data points into information that you can utilize for your business? And so you have data scientists and individuals really focused on making sense of that data. You also have specialists in security. It's a really hot, topic right now, where people are trying to understand where are all the different types of security vulnerabilities, what's the latest hack, and how do I make sure that my software is protected and that this, personal information or, patient information is protected, and nobody can get to it that should not have access to it. And you also have, other types of more focused roles, like an architect who is looking at, understanding at a high level, what is the business need? What are you trying to accomplish? And then what are the right technologies in order to meet that need, as well as how do your different systems need to work together in order to solve a problem end to end, right? So let's say I'm trying to implement a system that I can take an order from a customer, I can fulfill the order, I can ship the order, and I can bill the order. So an architect would be looking at, that process, and they would say, here's the types of systems that we need in order to be able to fulfill that business function. So it's really hard to say, I would say there's many different career paths. If I would simplify it quite a bit, right, and this is very much a generalization, but if you look at like a technical career path, so somebody that really likes to program, they like to really understand how the software works, that would typically start out with somebody coming out of college in a development role, right, in maybe one technology that they learn how to do that particular language. And then to advance, right, by gaining perhaps different languages, becoming more immersed and more experienced in several technologies, to the point that then they would take on a role like an architect, because now they've had detailed technical knowledge of various systems. They understand how they work. They can understand how to connect the pieces together in order to solve problems. So that would be more of a technical career path. You can then look at like either a project management or like a management career path, more on the kind of the business side of it. And that would be probably somebody coming in as like a business analyst. So like I mentioned before, somebody who understands what the business is trying to do, understands the processes, and then helps to translate that into requirements that then somebody that's more technical on the development side would implement. So that's kind of the lower level would be maybe like an associate business analyst you'd progress up to a higher level, business analyst, and then you could either go into a people management role or more of a project program management role. And what's the difference? A program, you may be working with large teams and you are providing leadership and support to those teams. You're working to remove barriers, make sure they have what they need, but you probably are not doing as much direct management of that individual. Where if you go into a more, strict management role, you would also have team members, but these would be individuals that report to you directly, that you would be responsible for really developing, making sure that they're getting all of the skills that they need in order to, move up in their career and, also be able to meet their objectives. Yeah, so I think you're 100% correct, right? Technology is not setting still, and it's continuing to advance and it's continuing to change. And I'll tell you, the languages that I learned to develop with are not the languages that people are using today. What I will say, and we talk a lot about transfer